Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Craig and today we're diving into the world of the GCSE English language exam. Whether you're feeling confident or a little anxious, I've got some invaluable tips and information that will help you ace the exam. So let's get started. First things first, let's talk about what the GCSE English language exam entails. The exam typically consists of two papers, appropriately named Paper 1 and Paper 2. Now, Paper 1 focuses on reading and creative writing, while Paper 2 involves reading and writing non-fiction texts. Each paper is usually worth 50% of your total English language GCSE grade. Both papers assess your comprehension skills, ability to analyse texts, and your writing skills. It's essential to familiarise yourself with the exam format as it helps reduce surprises on the big day. Next, let's look at the key assessment objectives. Understanding what the examiners are looking for can make a huge difference. Let's start with reading comprehension. You'll need to understand and interpret various texts. This might include fiction such as stories, novels or excerpts focusing on narrative structure, character development and themes. There are also non-fiction texts, for example articles, essays or reports that may present arguments, convey factual information or explore opinions. It could also include poetry, and poems use imagery, rhythm and form to present emotions, themes or narratives. So what skills are required? You will need literal understanding skills, so you should be able to identify the main ideas, themes and details in the texts. Inferential understanding, which involves reading between the lines to interpret implied meanings or the author's intent. For example, understanding the subtext or character motivations. Critical response, which is evaluating the effectiveness of the text, including judgments about author's choices and the impact on the reader. You'll need to be able to analyse language and structure and to recognise and discuss various literary devices and rhetorical techniques that authors use, such as metaphors and similes, which is comparing two unlike things to create vivid imagery or to make complex ideas relatable. For instance, saying life is a journey, a metaphor, or as brave as a lion, simile. And then there's imagery, which is descriptive language that appeals to the senses, painting a picture in the reader's mind and evoking emotional responses. Symbolism is an understanding of how objects, characters or actions represent broader themes or ideas. There is also persuasive or argumentative language, which uses techniques such as emotive language, rhetorical questions and repetition aimed at influencing the reader's opinions or beliefs. Also structural analysis. You should consider how the organisation of the text contributes to its meaning or effectiveness. This includes looking at narrative structure, which means how the story is set up, style of explanation or setup of the story, which is the beginning, rise in action, in the middle, and then the climax or resolution, the end. Then there's the paragraph and sentence structure, how varying lengths and complexity of sentences can affect the flow and impact of the text. So we've looked at reading skills, but what else do we need? Good writing skills are essential because you are expected to craft a clear, cohesive argument or narrative. The emphasis on your ability to express ideas and engage your reader. There are different types of writing which you may be tasked with producing, such as persuasive texts, narratives or descriptive pieces. Understanding the form and purpose of each is crucial. The purpose of descriptive writing is to create a vivid picture in the reader's mind through detailed descriptions of settings, characters or events. There are various techniques like the use of sensory language, descriptions that appeal to the five senses: sight, sound, touch, taste and smell. Imagery, utilising similes, metaphors and personification to create strong visual images. And show, don't tell. Instead of stating facts, convey emotions and atmospheres through actions and subtle details. An example text might be: describe a bustling market scene, focusing on the sights, sounds and smells. The purpose of narrative writing is to tell a story or recount events, which can be fictional or based on personal experiences. You need to include character development, so create relatable characters with distinct motivations and traits. Have a good plot structure. Follow the elements of storytelling, like I mentioned earlier, the explanation or the setup of the story, which is the beginning, the rise in action to the middle, and then the climax and resolution is the end. You should also include some dialogue. Include conversations that reveal character relationships and advance the plot. Establish a clear setting that enhances the mood and context of the story. You may want to set the story in a town near you or somewhere that you would like to visit, or you could even create a fictional town. An example task in the exam might be something like write a short story about a life-changing event in your life, or create a fictional tale about an unexpected journey. There's then persuasive or argumentative writing. Cohesion and coherence are important. Your work should flow logically with clear connections between ideas, using linking words and phrases. For example, words like furthermore, however, therefore. It's essential for guiding the reader. Your writing must not only present ideas clearly but also engage the reader. This could involve using a strong voice or tone that matches the purpose of the piece. You do this by the words you use, and the reader will read them in specific ways and create the tone themselves. For example, how would you read these phrases? I will pause while you read them. Would you be so kind as to help me with my luggage? Could you please give me a hand with my bags? Hey, you, grab those bags and follow me. Each of the sentences are saying the same thing, just in a different way, to show the reader how the characters speak and act. The characters in the story should speak the same throughout. One might be overly polite and another quite rude, but this might reflect on their upbringing with the backstory of the characters. If one character was brought up in a bad neighbourhood, then they might use street talk. But if they were brought up in a good neighbourhood, studied at Cambridge University, then they might be more polite, or possibly a little condescending. But there are outliers, or exceptions of course. But you should try to create captivating openings and thought-provoking conclusions that leave an impression on the reader. So use creative storytelling techniques, such as dialogue, that enhance the narrative and bring characters to life. SPAG. Spelling, punctuation and grammar. Good spelling, punctuation and grammar are essential. They can significantly impact your writing score, no matter how brilliant your ideas are. The importance of form in writing accurate spelling is fundamental. Even with strong content, errors can distract the reader or lead to misinterpretation of meaning. There are many common mistakes that people make, especially with words that sound similar, such as the differences with there, and there. Also, when you attempt to use more complicated words that you are not too familiar with. But it is important to use as much vocabulary as possible. So familiarising yourself with commonly misspelled words and practice can help improve your scoring in this area. Punctuation. Proper use of punctuation marks, commas, full stops, speech marks or quotation marks, the correct use of apostrophes such as with contractions and possession helps clarify meaning and improves readability. For instance, commas can indicate pauses and separate items in a list. Speech marks or quotation marks are used for dialogue, showing who is speaking. Correct grammatical structures ensure that sentences are clear and understandable. This includes subject-verb agreement, verb tenses and proper sentence structure. Avoid run-on sentences and fragments, which is when two independent clauses run together without proper punctuation or appropriate conjunctions, which can hinder the clarity of your writing. Look at this sentence and how would you say it? And now, if I add a comma, I want to eat mum. I want to eat mum. So, do you want to eat your mum, or are you telling your mum that you want to eat? Punctuation is important. Mastery of SPAG is crucial, as even superb ideas can be undermined by frequent errors. The GCSE exam will evaluate you on both the quality of your ideas and the accuracy of your execution. Succeeding in the GCSE English language exam requires a multifaceted skill set. Strong reading comprehension will help you analyse text effectively, while analytical skills will allow you to assess and comment on language use and structure. Your ability to write clearly and engagingly combined with good spag will ensure that you can communicate your ideas effectively and earn good marks. If you're struggling with your exams, then it is a good idea to engage in after-school activities. Find a study partner and get extra assistance from your teachers. It's also very beneficial to find a private tutor. If you'd like a private tutor, then click on the link in the description and book a trial lesson with me. I teach English as a second language as well as helping with exam preparations. If you would like to check out different tutors, then please click the affiliate link, which is the second link in the description, and that will give you 30% off your first lesson, and I will earn a small commission, which will help the channel a lot. Now, let's get into some practical tips, specifically for paper 1. Read the texts carefully. Spend a few minutes looking over the text and the questions before you dive into writing. This will help you gather ideas. Plan your answer. Before you start writing, jot down a quick plan. Organising your thoughts can help in crafting a clearer narrative. Use a variety of sentence structures. Mix short, punchy sentences with longer, more complex ones. This keeps your writing interesting. And like I mentioned earlier, show, don't tell. Use descriptive language that paints a picture for the reader. Instead of saying, "It was a hot day," describe the blazing sun beating down, making the pavement shimmer. Connect with your audience. Think about who will be reading your piece. Tailor your writing style to engage them. A story might be informal, while an article needs to be more thoughtful and structured. Right, so now let's talk about paper 2. So here are some useful strategies. Understand the texts. You'll be comparing and analysing non-fiction texts. Focus on identifying the writer's purpose and the intended audience. And identify techniques. Pay attention to language features and structural elements. How does the writer persuade or inform their audience? Look for facts, opinions and rhetorical questions. Practice comparative writing. You might need to compare 2 texts. Create a structure for your essay that clearly outlines similarities and differences. With spag in mind, just like in paper 1, remember that your spelling and punctuation should be sharp. Proofread your work. Familiarise yourself with different text types. Know how to handle various formats like letters, articles, speeches and reviews. Each has its own conventions and stylistic features. So now that you're familiar with the exam structure and tips, let's go over some effective revision strategies. Coming in at number 1 has to be practice past papers. Work through past papers under timed conditions. This will improve your time management and help you become familiar with the question styles. You can join study groups. Sometimes discussing ideas with peers, with classmates can provide new insights and make learning more fun. You could use flashcards for key terms. Create flashcards for literary and writing techniques. It's a great way to reinforce your learning. Read widely. Expose yourself to different genres and styles. Reading a variety of formats can improve your vocabulary and understanding of different writing techniques. And finally, let's discuss some tips for the exam day itself. Get plenty of rest. A good night's sleep before the exam is crucial. You want to be alert and focused. Arrive early. Make sure you arrive with plenty of time to spare. This will help you avoid any last-minute stress. Bring essential supplies. Remember to take your student ID, pens and any necessary materials according to the exam requirements. And stay calm and focused. If you feel anxious, take a few deep breaths. Remember that you prepared for this moment. And that's it. Those are my essential tips and insights for the GCSE English language exam. Remember, preparation is key, and with practice you can excel. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content, and leave a comment if you have any questions or specific topics you'd like me to cover. And best of luck in your studies, and hopefully I will see you in class soon. Bye for now.